Hey, Wells Club. Long time no chat. I was busy on Friday. I was Zooming you guys in the conference, and then it was so pretty outside. I was outside most of the rest of the day. So I didn't post a video last Friday. So we're going to get started with this Monday stuff. But before we get started, let's have a quick little rundown of how this week and most likely next week is going to work. What I am thinking and what I keep hearing from the people like our principals and the people from downtown is it's really looking like that we won't be back in school next week. So that's looking like I won't see you again face to face until after spring break. But don't panic. I had I think 6 or 7 of you tuned into Zoom last week, and it was really successful. We literally we were all at our dining room tables or hanging out, and we were just talking, discussing what's going on. A couple of you asked questions, and you actually held your work up to the screen so I could see where you were stuck, and I can walk you through where you get stuck. So if you haven't had a chance, please, when I post the links, just click the link and it automatically uploads onto your device. Some of my friends were on a computer last week. Some were using mom's phone. Some were on your own phone. Whatever you have works really well because then I can see you and we can talk. I got to meet some of your siblings, your dogs, and I think a hamster. I think Jada had a hamster up there. So it was really fun just to hang out and chat instead of you just watching me on YouTube all the time. So we are really going to start using that Zoom program. So if you haven't already done so, check it out. We can chat with each other. It's just a place for you guys to talk to each other as you haven't seen each other in a while, I'm assuming. If you've been social distancing, you've been staying at home for the most part or just playing outside a little bit, but not going all over the place like normal. I'm also going to only post video lessons on Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays. We'll leave those Tuesdays and Thursdays open for you to get on Zoom and hang out and talk, read, catch up on any work you may need. All right, for today's math lesson, you just need some paper, and I'm looking at my stuff, that's why I keep turning my head. You just need some paper, pens, pencils, whatever you have. When we do math notes, I like to use colors, so you're more than welcome to use your colors if you have them. Again, notebook paper, printer paper, construction paper, whatever kind of paper you have at home works. And you can use that. We'll bring it when we return to school. You can bring it in and we can glue it into your notebooks. But we are going to get started with building off last week's notes page that I posted the picture of. It's the polygons. If you haven't completed this notes page, you're really going to need it because apart from understanding what a polygon is, there's a specific type of polygon fourth grade has to know in order to be successful, and there's quite a few different kinds. Honestly, you already know the kinds. They're not new to you. You've seen them before, but you have to understand their definitions and all the different ways they were going to look like because it's never just a basic shape. They make them really difficult. So there's another page you're going to need besides that, and it's in your packet. And it looks like this. There's a couple pages. They're all front to back. And it's telling you each type of polygon, or each type of quadrilateral is the type of polygon you're going to have to know. And it's showing you what each specific type looks like, what they do look like, and the ways that you're going to see them on your test that'll trip you up. So it's the hard ones that we're going to see. So you're going to need those as well. Apart from our polygons discussion, and our quadrilaterals, make sure you're going back into those YouTube videos and playing the line splat game on Portal. You can also be just getting your stretches in with the showing your lines, your parallel, perpendicular, intersecting, all of those things as well. So get up, get moving, playing those games. And then again, that Portal site, I'm going to make another video to show you how to get on the quadrilaterals game, but make sure you're practicing your lines as well because those are pretty difficult when you see them. I'm also going to be posting some individual assignments on Google Classroom this week. They're not in your packet, but you have to be able to complete them when we return to school, so you might as well get them done now. These would be your independent assignments that you would have during your group time. So make sure you're getting on Google Classroom. It's just multiple choice stuff. You read what it says, click your answer, and as soon as you submit, I get the grade. I can put the grade in the grade book to keep you up to date with what's you're supposed to be learning in the classroom, so when we return, we're not too far behind. All right, time to get started. Last week we talked a lot about the angles. So I have an angles game I'm going to show you how to play on the next video using that portal so you can identify your little bitty angles, your right angles, which are your perfect L's, forwards and backwards, and your big fat obtuse angles as well. So again, lots of games coming. That's your homework once you get done with these lessons until I say otherwise, because we don't have extra work. We don't want any more extra work. I know you don't, and I know your parents don't, and you know that it's difficult enough being at home. All right, so what I need you to do is get out your colors if you have them. If you don't have any colors, pen, pencil, whatever you have. We're going to get started on our notes. If I go too fast, make sure you hit pause. That way you can catch up on what it is. All right, for my notes page, I have my math notebook from school. You don't. Make sure you turn your paper tall. That way you have enough space to get all the stuff that you need. And the first word you're going to write at the top is quadrilateral, and that is a mouthful. Let me make sure I don't spell it wrong. And again, hit pause if I go too fast. And then what I need you to do is put a box around the word quad, because that's going to help you remember what a quadrilateral is. All right, quad equals 4. And that's a clue to help us with our shape today. It means 4. All right, the next thing, I'm going to switch colors. Specifically, what a quadrilateral means is it's a polygon that has 4 sides, 4 angles, and 4 vertices. So quadrilateral, it's a hard word to spell. I have to think about it every time. Quadrilateral equals 4 sides, 4 angles, and again, angles are where 2 rays come together and meet, and 4 vertices or corners. And this is where you're probably going to have to pause because that was a lot. All right, so we have quadrilaterals, 4 sides, 4 angles, 4 vertices, and again, vertices are your corners. Then we're going to get started drawing them as best as we can. I'm going to switch colors again. You know how I like my colors. All right, first one, in my opinion, the most recognizable, the easiest one is a rectangle. Go ahead and draw a rectangle. I'm going to do side to side, and of course up and down, because you're going to see them both ways. I'm going to label it rectangle. The next shape we're going to draw, and again, a throwback to kindergarten, we're going to draw a square. A square is similar to a rectangle, except all the sides are the same size. Again, if I'm going too fast, hit pause. The next one is just a square turned a little bit. I told you that with these shapes, they get a little tricky because you'll see them and have to imagine that they have already been turned. A square turned is called a rhombus or a diamond. I'm going to label it rhombus. And then in parentheses, I'm going to put diamond because you'll never see the word diamond, but that's the word that you're used to. So when you see this shape, you'll think diamond, but it's not called diamond in 4th grade. It's called rhombus. And then there are 2 more that you probably have seen and not even known they were considered a quadrilateral. The next one is a trapezoid. I'm going to break down how you draw it. So the first thing you're going to do is draw a somewhat short little tiny line. And coming off of that line is two diagonal lines pointing different directions. And then you close the two lines at the bottom. And again, I have a feeling you've probably seen this shape before, but you're going to see it many more times coming up here shortly. And that is called a trapezoid. It's a fun word, trapezoid. Sounds like it could be a good guy that takes out all the bad guys, a zoid. And then the last one we have is called a parallelogram. And its definition that we cover actually explains what it is. It's got two sets of parallel lines. And if you have forgotten parallel, straight lines that never ever come in contact with each other. For this one, we're going to draw two diagonal lines first. And then you just connect them. So it kind of looks like a rectangle that's about to be turned. And that is a parallelogram, a parallelogram. So lots of big words this week. All right, again, with these shapes, you have to remember that they have four sides, four vertices. Vertices means corners, and four angles. Angles is, again, where those lines come together and meet. Some of them you're going to find out form right angles, some form acute angles, some form obtuse angles. That's how we differentiate between all the different kinds. When I make the next video on Wednesday, it becomes a lot more difficult because each one of these shapes are related in some way, and the next set of notes that we do is going to explain how they're related, and that's where they're going to get most of your test questions from. You're going to have to tell me which ones fall under a rectangle, which ones are considered a rhombi, which ones are considered a trapezoid, and you're going to go, huh? But with the drawing we'll do next time, it will help you get which ones are which straight very well. Okay, and then if you need more time on your notes, just hit pause. But the next thing I need you to grab is your lesson from your notes page. Now, all of these are front to back, and you have this crazy thing over here. We are not going to do this right now. Actually, you know what? We can. We'll go ahead and knock it all out. Okay, so it's front to back, and then it gives you the examples of what they are, and then things that you'll see that are not examples or things you wouldn't select. And then you'll see on your multiple choice, it'll say, can you show me what a quadrilateral is? Click all that are quadrilaterals. And you have to click all, and if you click one that's considered a non-example, you're going to get the question wrong. All right, so what we're going to do is let me start from the very beginning with the side that says rectangle parallelogram. Oh, the light. Rectangle parallelogram, that's what we'll start with first, because all quadrilaterals are considered a parallelogram. And then a parallelogram is, I'm going to get used to writing quadrilateral because these are all quadrilaterals. A quadrilateral with or congruent. Congruent means same. I'm just kidding. A quadrilateral, I need some white out. Let's see. Miss Wells made a mistake. Whoops. And this is why you use pencil, guys. All right. A parallelogram is a quadrilateral with both pairs of opposite sides parallel. so this is about to be a hot mess. That's all right, though. See, even teachers make mistakes. Grown-ups make mistakes. It's all good. And we're virtually learning, so we're just going to go with it. All right, so a quadrilateral with both pairs of opposite sides that are parallel. And then what that means is, let's look at this one right here. This is what we just drew, except it's backwards. So we have this set here, and I'm going to slide over to this line. They would be parallel. If you continue them forever and ever, they'll never touch. Then you've got the bottom here, that's also parallel. So one side, two sides. Jump up here to the rectangle. The top and the bottom are parallel, and the two sides are parallel. Side to side are parallel. That's all the different ways you'll see them. And notice inside you're going to say, oh, I see a rectangle. I see a quadrilateral. I see a rhombus. I see a square. This is the part that I'm talking about where you have to know which ones are belong into which category, which we'll get to. And then you need to come over here because some of these don't count because the lines will never touch. So right now a trapezoid, you see right here? If you continued this line forever and ever, I'm going to show you what that means. Eventually the lines would cross over them, so they can't be parallelograms if that would happen. Okay, so they have to be parallel on two sides. Most it's right and left and then top and bottom normally. So, and then we're going to move on to rectangle. And look, I already started the rectangle definition. So we can start with A. All right, a quadrilateral. Told you you're going to get used to that word, quadrilateral. With 4 right angles. And what that means is they form that perfect L shape. And then hiding inside of the rectangle, I see a rhombus, I see a square. So getting ready for our next lesson, I guess a rhombi and a square could also be a rectangle too, because it's a quadrilateral with 4 right angles. And then a rectangle is also a parallelogram. And I know you're like, Miss Wells, I don't get this. That's okay. Well, we're going to practice as best as we can. And then the non-examples show shapes that wouldn't have a right angle. For example, I'm doing the best I can from right here. All right, so for this right here, the angle is, let me show you. It's in green this time. So our angle isn't a perfect L, so it would have a teeny tiny little belly. The cute, cute belly. And if it has a cute, cute belly, it's an acute angle hiding in there. So that means it wouldn't fall under a rectangle because it didn't make that perfect L. Whereas over here on the square, makes that big L. And then you would have that little box inside to show that it's a right angle. Glad we learned angles already. All right, what I'm going to do is I'm going to flip that paper over. And I'm on the side that says quadrilateral and trapezoid. All right, you're starting with a quadrilateral, which we already talked about. Quadrilateral is just a polygon that has 4 sides. And a polygon is just a shape. Four sides. Now notice over here we have a heart that has a curve. Automatically it's not a polygon. With our last, with your polygon lesson, your independent activity, you would have already looked at that and gone, Miss Wells, that's not a polygon, it has curves. Okay, and then you see a lot of other shapes like the star up here. It is straight, falls under the polygon category, but has way too many sides. So let's see how many we have. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 10 sides aren't a polygon, aren't a quadrilateral, because quadrilateral, quad means 4. And then we're down here with the trapezoid. Now, the trapezoid has some lines that if you extend them, they would intersect. So, again, they don't fall under the parallelogram category because parallelogram means the sides are parallel to each other at all times. They wouldn't come in contact with each other. So, a trapezoid is a quadrilateral. It's a quadrilateral because it has 4 sides. Quadrilateral with one pair. And remember, a pair means two. I have a pair of shoes. I have two shoes. With one pair of parallel sides. And again, I'll show you what that looks like with my green marker. A quadrilateral with one pair of parallel sides. For this one, we're going to be looking at the examples. I'm going to show you the parallel side. So on this very first shape right here, there's your parallel sides. Now, if I extended the other sides, I'm going to do that with dotted lines. They would end up crossing over each other. So that won't work. Or that is considered a trapezoid because they would eventually cross. It has to have one pair. So I'm going to show you the next side parallel. Again, parallel means they'll never, ever, ever come in contact with each other. And the next one always seems to be top and bottom. Two sides look like they'll crash into each other. And then those odd shapes over here, the non-examples. And if you need more time, hit pause. All right, my next page that we're going to be doing is the side that says square and rhombus. And then I did decide we are going to go ahead and go with this. We have the square and the rhombus. We're going to start with the square on top. All right, a square is considered a rectangle with four sides of equal length. Oh, I wrote that in the wrong space. Miss Wells is really struggling today. Oh my goodness. I draw a line. All right, so again, when you write this, put this definition up here for square. Whoops, big whoops, and I have no whiteout. Fail. And again, when you have a square, all the sides are the same length. They're not going to have one side longer than the other because that would be a different shape. And then a rhombi is just a square turned. A quadrilateral with four congruent. Congruent means same. Sides. I got my arrow. Remember, this definition belongs to the rhombus down here, and then this definition belongs to square up here. But I didn't have white out, and I was using a marker. So if you have an eraser, you don't have to do the arrows. You just write the definitions where they go. All right, and then down here we have different rhombi examples. So I'm going to show you the same. They're very similar in size. That I highlighted the one that actually looks like a square because a square is considered a rhombi as well. And then you start to see where you can take the, I'm going to turn my paper to show you. If I turn my paper, you're going to see it turn into that diamond shape or that rhombi shape. Okay, so it goes from a square to a rhombi, square to a rhombi. All right, if you need more time, make sure you hit pause. You can back it up, push it forward, however you need. And the next thing we're going to do is the quadrilateral property summary right there. We're going to do that together. That way you don't get super stuck. And our directions say for each statement, put a check mark in the column for each quadrilateral that it's true. Some columns will have more than one check mark. Ooh. All right, so the first thing we have is a parallelogram. So I'm going to go back to my parallelogram notes page, the one that I scribbled all over, and we're going to use this. I'm Just as a refresher, a parallelogram is a quadrilateral with both pairs of opposite sides parallel. Okay, so is a parallelogram a quadrilateral? Does it have 4 sides? Yep, so I'm going to put a check mark in that box because it is considered a quadrilateral. It does have 4 sides. Now I'm going to go straight down my column here. The next thing says both pairs of opposite sides are congruent. So I'm going to show you what that means. A parallelogram would mean congruent means they're the same. So right now I'm going to look over here at this. Is the top and the bottom the same as the 2 sides? No. This top and bottom is the same, but these two aren't the same as the top and the bottom. They're a little bit shorter, different, and they're diagonal, so they are not the same. So for this one where it says the pairs of opposite sides are congruent, I'm going to leave it blank because they're not congruent. They're not all the same. And then it says all 4 sides are congruent. So all the sides are the same. So I'm going to go back to my parallelogram examples. Are they all the same? And again, no. Some are diagonal and short. Some are long and parallel. So I'm going to leave that one blank. That's not, all 4 sides are not congruent. They're not the same. I'm going to keep going straight down. Both pairs of opposite sides are parallel. Again, parallel means they go on and on and on and they never ever touch. So I'm going to go back to the shape I keep using. Are they parallel? Well, let's see. Those are parallel. Let me check the other 2. Yep, those are parallel as well. So they are opposite sides are parallel. They're both, the 2 sets are parallel. So I'm going to put a check in that box. And the next one says has exactly 1 pair of opposite sides that are parallel. Well, we just said they're both parallel, so that's not going to work. So I'm going to leave that one blank. Next one says has 4 right angles. Right angles, again, are that perfect L. So I'm going to go back to that shape that I've been using here. I'm actually going to take out a different color just to show you. You don't have to take out the color. You don't even have to draw on them. I'm going to take out another color to show you the angles. All right, so I have this angle built. And if I connect them, it's going to have a big old fat belly. So if it has a big old fat belly, it's not a right angle, it's an obtuse angle. So I can't put a check mark in that box. So I'm going to leave, has 4 right angles, I'm going to leave that check blank. And we're going to go straight down. Opposite angles are congruent. I'm going to show you what that means in a different color. Again, congruent means they're the same. So let's see about these angles, if they are the same. The opposite sides are the same. So I'm going to go to a different shape for this so it's a little bit, because it's a little bit confusing. All right. So I figured out my angle. And then I'm going to give it its belly. If it's a little bitty belly, it's an acute angle. Now we have to think about the opposite side, the opposite angle. So I'm going to go up to the top here. Okay, so those 2 are looking the same. Okay, those both have the little bitty baby bellies. Okay, now I'm going to go and do the other sides and see if those are the same. If they're the same, we can put a check. If they are not, then we can't. So I'm going to go back to my green color here. And I know this is a little bit confusing. That's all right. This one has a big, big, big belly. So little bellies and big bellies in the same shape. So that would mean opposite angles are congruent. They are the same. And we just found out they're not the same. They're not the same because some are little and some are the little acute angles and some are the big obtuse angles. So we're going to leave that blank. So for parallelogram, we only checked 2 boxes. And that's okay because they only fall under a couple categories. And then I'm going to go ahead and do the rectangle with you, and then I'm going to turn you loose. This will be your exit ticket, your final thing. You'll finish it, and then you'll bring it in to turn into me. So we're going to do rectangle together. All right, first, is a rectangle a quadrilateral? Does a rectangle have 4 sides? Yep, so I'm going to put a check mark in that box. Okay, I'm going to go straight down. Right, straight down the column there. So my next thing says, both pairs of opposite sides are congruent. Are they the same? So I'm going to go to my rectangle page here, and I'm going to see if they are the same. So here's one pair. Oh, I did it up at the top. Here's one pair. Down here in the rectangle box, right there. Now we have to make sure, we have to see if these sides, top and bottom, are the same as the other two. And when I trace them, you can kind of tell, no, the top is a little bit shorter than the side. So, are they congruent? Are they the same? The opposite sides are the same. Are they all the same? No. So this one is the same as that one. This one is the same as that one. Opposite sides are the same. So I'm going to put a check in that box. The next one says all 4 sides are congruent. All 4 sides are the same. And we just talked about the top and the bottom are the same and the right and the left are the same, but the right and the left are not the same as the top and the bottom. Okay, so again, we have the opposite sides, the ones that go across from each other, those are the same, but this side is not the same as this side because this side is a lot bigger than the bottom. So I'm going to leave that check alone. That's not working. The next one says both pairs of opposite sides are parallel. Go back to what I already drew, and they are parallel. So this one is parallel to that one, and then this one is parallel to that one. They won't ever touch. So I'm going to put a check in that box. And this next one says has exactly 1 pair of opposite sides are parallel. Let me go back. That means only one side. The other side's going to be touching each other. So I go here to here. Oh, those aren't going to touch. This one and this one. No, those will never touch. So for a rectangle, that doesn't work. That doesn't work because they are the same. I mean, they are opposite sides are both parallel. They'll never change. So I'm going to leave that one alone. And then I have to see if they all make perfect L's. So I'm going to do the bottom one. Did that make an L? Sure did. Now this one's going to be an upside down, backwards L. Sure did though, right here. So it does have 4 right angles. I'm going to put a check. And then it's asking me for those opposite angles again, so I'm going to change color so you can see them. All right, so we have angle 1. Oh, that's opposite angle going straight up. Let's see if it's the same. Is it the same? Yep. So I'm going to go ahead and put a check in that box as well. Switch back to my colors. The opposite angles are congruent. And then what you're going to do is you're going to finish the square, rhombi, and trapezoid all by yourself. So you're going to keep looking at your notes pages that we have. And again, for these, we switched. This definition should be down here, and this definition should be up here. That's why we have the arrows, if you get confused. And then that's going to be your exit ticket. When you finish with that, keep it with your stuff, and then I'll collect that when you return to school. Again, I know that was really confusing, so if you have any questions, don't hesitate to reach out to me on Dojo Chat, Google Chat. You can send a YouTube message if you want. Take a video of yourself and send it to me on Dojo, or give me the link on Dojo and I'll click it and hear what you have to say. I would love to see you guys. Again, teaching to myself isn't as fun as talking to you guys. So the next video I put up will be how to get on the quadrilaterals game for you to practice these different types of shapes. And it's very similar to your line splat. It's going to tell you what you need to hit and you're going to shoot it. Again, play that for 10-15 minutes, nothing crazy. But that'll really help you get to know the different kinds of quadrilaterals. And the next time I meet with you guys, we'll get into specifically which type of quadrilateral falls under which category, so you'll get much better idea of is a square also a rhombi and a rhombi also a trapezoid, or things like that, because that can be a little bit confusing. All right, I will be posting the next video soon. Talk to you later.